fans of Let's Talk Chicago Bears. I'm back to talk about the first preseason game. So yes, we all know they won 20-13. And I know everybody is just giddy and excited about Fields, but I'm going to tell you, pump the brakes a little bit. It is still early. Because I'm just fearful that he's going to have a couple games that aren't so great here and there, and then everybody's going to be opposite. They're going to be all over shit. You know what I mean? So remember, he's young, and he's got a lot of learning to do. You know, the one thing they said, he can throw, he can read defenses, and he just has to get a good command of the huddle. When he calls these guys in and he calls a play, he's got to look in their eyes and know what he's saying. You know what I mean? You can't just shoot out a number and then look at your little notes to see what it is. You got to know what it is so that your teammates around you know that you know what you're doing, and then they believe in you. You believe in them, and they believe in you, and that's what you need on an offense, especially with a youngster like Fields. But no doubt about it, he had some really shining moments, but remember, again, he was playing against the second-string, third-string defenses for Miami. So that's something, because really, Miami and the Bears played their starters 1-2 series. I don't even think the Bears' defense was in on the second. Most of them were not in on the second series. For the defense. It was all pretty much second and third stringers the rest of the day. And I got to tell you what, they held their own. I was a little impressed. Of course, still early, but I was also impressed with the offensive line. They did pretty darn good because there's been a lot of worries because you know that our 2 overall pick from this last draft was Jenkins, and he hasn't practiced one down yet. They just signed another linebacker on Saturday. He's 40 years old. When my son told me he was 40, I couldn't believe it. I almost fell out of my chair. I'm like, what the hell? But I guess he still plays pretty good, but I don't know. But when I heard that they signed this guy, I knew that Jenkins is going to be a problem. See, now, Pace really threw the dice on this guy because he's been hurt for a while. He was hurt. He didn't play in the Senior Bowl. He didn't go to the Combine. He didn't do any of that stuff. They didn't have the Combines. They had individual Combines at their colleges, just them. And he didn't do any of that because he was hurt. So the Bears really rolled the dice on this one. So let's hope this is something that they're taking care of and that he'll be back. But it really sucks because you hate to see him waste the number 2 draft pick. And it was high. He went up to get him, so it cost us money to do it, and we lost draft picks for next year. So let's hope that this is not something that's going to linger. So let's talk about the game a little bit. So the Bears won 20-13. Now, you know what my one bugaboo is, though? They had 9 penalties. Now, if you watched the show last year, you know I'm going to talk about penalties all the time. Penalties kill you. They kill drives. They are just terrible. And you got to win a game, to have a chance to win a game, you cannot have more than 5 penalties. You got to stick to 5 penalties or less, in my opinion, and then you have a good shot in winning a game. Now, of course, Bears and other teams have had more penalties in one game. There's no doubt about it. But a rule of thumb is 5 and less. And Nagy always, the last 2 or 3 years, they start out terrible in the regular season. Last year, the first 4 games, they would average 8 to 9, 10 penalties a game. You cannot do that. So I'm hoping Nagy will get on their case to get that discipline. This is an example of penalties. So in the second quarter, actually, no. It was in Fields' first series. He threw 2 completions, and then they had 3 penalties back to back to back, which forced them to then kick a field goal. Actually, it was not his first series. That can't be right. I don't know why I said that. I don't even know why I wrote that down. I take notes during the game. I don't know why I wrote that down because it wasn't. Because that happened when we got the 3 points. That was right before halftime, where he went down the field. So, but there was a point. Oh, no, that's right. Okay, me bad. This was our first field goal. Okay, me bad. So he threw 2 completions. Remember, now this is preseason for the announcer too. He had 2 completions and then 3 penalties back to back, and then the score. And we went from the 3-yard line to the 18-yard line. So didn't happen. No. So they had to settle for a field goal. So that's my example of penalties. Okay, and so let's talk about Fields a little bit, though, what he did. Okay, so the Bears did go for the first 5 series of the game. They went 3 and out. That's not like something we haven't seen many times before. And then they started turning things around because at one point it was a 13-0 deficit, and then they turned around. So Justin Fields, in my opinion, when he first went out there, the first half of the game, he did not look comfortable, which he had to be nervous. His adrenaline was probably sky high. When he came out after halftime, he looked different. He seemed calm to me. He seemed, sure of himself. So I'm sure Nagy told him, okay, now calm down. You got the jitters out. Let's go play Justin Fields football. And he did. The rookie, he engineered 3 scoring drives, and the first one allowed Carlos Santos to hit a 53-yarder, which was awesome. We've got a kicker there, so that was at the end of the first half. That's what I was getting mixed up when time was expiring, but I think you remember that. It was a great kick. That thing was right down the middle. I'm just so happy we got this guy. And then the first 2 possessions of the second half, Justin ran an 8-yard run for a TD, and then he scored. Then he threw on the next possession when they got close. He threw a 30-yard pass to our tight end, second-string tight end, Jesse James, and he walked in backwards. If you saw the game, he walked that one in. He was so wide open. I mean, I could have scored that touchdown. He was so wide open. That had to be a busted coverage on the Miami. So Fields played in 6 series in the second and third quarters, completing 14 of 20 passes for 142 yards, and he had a passer rating of 106.7. Pretty darn good. And he rushed for 33 yards and 1 TD on 5 attempts. So that was pretty darn good. Very, very good day for him. The Bears' offensive line, I got to tell you what, they look pretty darn good. I was pretty impressed because that's a huge worry, the Bears. Number 1 worry, offensive line. Definitely. And but again, they're playing against the second and third string Miami defense. So were they that good, or is it just who they were playing? So we're not really sure. But they did a good enough job so they could at least let Justin settle down and throw some passes. Although the one thing about Justin, though, is he can run. So that's the only plus about our offensive line not being that great. But and our defense, the second and third string guys looked fantastic. So it's really nice to have good depth. Of course, again, they're playing against the second and third string Miami offense, but still, it's the NFL. But you want to have depth, and you want these guys fighting for starting positions. We got 2 turnovers in that game, and turnovers are huge. They had 2 turnovers, the Bears defense, and they only allowed 1 touchdown, and the rest were field goals for Miami, and the 2 turnovers, which were huge. Turnovers, the Bears went backwards in that department last year. I believe in 2019 they were number 1 in takeaways. And in a lot of years, you remember, especially the Lovie Smith eras, we were constantly taking the ball away. And turnovers do so many good things. Number 1, they give the ball back to your offense. Number 2, you get your defense off the field, which is a good 3. thing. Number 3, you pump up the entire team. Everybody's pumped up. 4, you take the momentum away from the opposing team and you bring it on your side. And 5, hopefully you can get a score out of it. So 4 to 5 really good things on turnovers. So I'd like to see the Bears, and they have like this bucket now that when you get a turnover, you can run up and you can slam dunk it in there. That kind of seems to be the new thing. Baseball's doing it too with home runs. Some teams have a special hat. Some have a big chain you can wear. The Sox don't do that, but it is, it's kind of it's fun for the guys, but they've got to preach turnovers. There was a real bright spot, and I didn't have his number, and I'd like to give people their numbers, but we have a second year young man. He was drafted last year in 2020 for cornerback position. His name is Kendall Valdor, and he's competing with Trufant for that position. And I guess he's had a fantastic camp and practices, the mini practices all year they've had, and so they're very high on this young man. He was their 5th round pick last year in 2020. So I'd like to see somebody come up because we do need cornerbacks. We don't have Fuller anymore because they had to cut him, let him go because of money, which sucks. Now he's with Denver, back with his old coach. So we've got to build up cornerbacks again. So let's hope that a couple of the youngsters out there look pretty darn good on defense. Here's another one. Well, this guy isn't a youngster. Alec Ovaltree. We got him. He was released by the Jets, and we picked him up. And he's basically, 3rd string right now, but I know after that game he's moved up to 2nd because he had one hell of a game. He has been so good. He was everywhere. And I want to say he had a sack, but so he looks really good. I got to tell you, he's number 45, that I know. So look for him next week when we play the Bills. Ovaltree, he's really good. He's a linebacker. So we need backup depth in that department. We really do. So he's a bright spot. He and this is a pretty funny stat. So 3 of his last 4 interceptions in the last couple years, 3 of them have come against the Bears. Shocking, right? In 2018, he intercepted Chase Daniels twice because he was with the Giants, and that was in New York, and he returned one of them for a touchdown. And when I read this, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. Chase Daniels. Oh my God, another fine pickup, Pace and Nagy. And then he intercepted Mitchell in 2019 at Soldier Field. So, of course, the Bears see him as out there as a free agent. Nobody wanted him. They're like, we got to go get this guy. We don't want to play against him anymore. But that was pretty good. And I would like to see him continue because, hey, anybody that can do it, right? So the game overall looked good. You know who really sucked, not shocking, was Foles. Not only did he look bad, but if you watch the end of the game, not a lot of people do in preseason, but now that I'm doing a show, I stayed with it. What was it, 30-something seconds. They're down on the 2-yard line after this one rookie ran for 51 yards to get us down to the 2-yard line. 1st and goal. First 2 attempts don't make it. And then the 3rd attempt, they didn't have enough players in, and then Foles is standing there going, he couldn't hear, and then Jesse James comes running off the bench, and it's a delay of game. And they had one timeout left. Why didn't Foles either take a timeout or just run the play? I mean, he's supposed to be so seasoned and such a veteran. How did he not know that? So then they got the delay of game, and we went back, and they nailed the game over. I mean, we had already won the game. It doesn't matter, but it's experience. And him doing that just shows you the guy sucks. And it's a shame that he's even still on the Bears, and they're paying him, $2 million, $3 million a year to suck. It just ain't right. I'm telling you, it just ain't right. I can't stand that guy. A little tidbit about one of the Bears. You know, every year they do a 100 top players in the league, and Allen Robinson has come in this year, and he's at number 87. So that's kind of cool, you know. But I am really looking forward to getting him and Mr. Mooney out there and seeing what they can do, because it's going to be exciting, especially with Justin Fields. And I will tell you that I heard Nagy did a press conference today, and this is the first time I've heard him say something different than Andy Dalton is starting the season. There's no ifs and buts about it. Today now he said, we're revisiting that commitment. We're not sure yet now, so we'll see after the preseason who starts the game. So now the door is back open for Justin Fields, which isn't a shock, but whatever. So, I'm trying to see if I got any other notes. The second and third string running back, Williams is his name. He was number 8. He looked really, really good to me. He was getting some, because, Montgomery had one run and he went out and got hurt. And I have not heard anything, but it sounds like he's okay, because Nagy said today he named a few people that were hurt, and it wasn't him. So it was probably precaution to leave him out, so the rest of the game, which I get it. So I wrote some other stuff down, but clearly I cannot. Herbert, another running back in the second half, number 24, he looked really good too. So that's good, because you need running backs, because you can use them on special teams and kickoffs and punt returns. So you don't have to use your really good guys like, Tariq or Montgomery at that. These guys can play those positions, and they can back up Montgomery and Tariq. And Tariq, we're not sure when he's going to be back. If you recall it, in Game 3 of last year, he tore his ACL. So they're kind of, waiting. They're not going to rush him, but all indication is he should be ready for Game 1 on September 12th. We're going to be playing the Rams in LA, and it's a night game. Okay, so I had a request from one of my subscribers. He asked me, he said he heard that the Buffalo Bills want a new stadium. I know this is nothing about the Bears, but it's football. And he said, I'd like to hear your take on it, Lynn. And I'm like, okay, so I investigated it, and he was right. And he had said in his comment, too, that they're trying to hold over moving to another state to get it, which is really shitty. I think it's really shitty when owners do that. So the Buffalo Bills want a new stadium, and they want the taxpayers to pay for it, not them. And it will cost $1.3 billion to build. Hello? No, I don't think so. And so now what they're doing is they're saying, well, there's plenty of other states in the United States that would love to have a team. Look at all the teams that have moved for the same reason, and they've been successful. Well, I do know Buffalo loves the Buffalo Bills. It's a shitty place to live. It snows in the winter all the time there, and I'm sure their summers aren't that long. So, really, Buffalo? You're going to leave these poor people? No. And you know what? I really hate when owners do that, where they, they want the taxpayers to pay the bill for funding a stadium for them. Well, that's bullshit. And it's bad when to me, when I hear this stuff, it sounds like the owners consider it only money and an investment to team, nothing else. And of course they gotta they gotta make money. I get that, so they can pay the players, blah 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 blah, all that other stuff. But football is so much more. It's not about the bottom line. And most of the teams, if not all of them, make plenty of money. Football is one of the most successful sports up there. I don't know if it's number one, but I think it is. I know we've had a few rough years. The kneeling shit didn't help. All that controversy with Caperville out in the quarterback in San Francisco. San Francisco. I can't say it. Hey, remember, this is preseason for the announcer, too. Colin Kaepernick, and that bullshit. That hurt the league for a few years, but hopefully we're coming back. But really bugs me when owners do that. Hey, it's your football team. No, you pay for the stadium. That's bullshit. But all in all, it was a good Saturday. But everybody, let's not put a lot of pressure on Justin. You know what? Because my fear is he's going to come out, have a couple good games, and then he's going to stumble a little bit. He's young. It's going to happen. And then people are going to turn around and be on his ass. And we don't want people getting in his head. That was part of Mitchell's problem. As a matter of fact, speaking of Buffalo Bills, Mitchell is the second string quarterback for the Buffalo. And one of the things he said when he got to Buffalo is he's like, it's nice to be in a place where you're wanted. That broke my heart when I heard that. Now, I was a fan of Mitchell. Was he very, very good? No. But did he get fucked around by Nagy? Yes. I told you, 2018, he went 12-14, and for his first full year on the field, he played pretty darn good. Second year, 2019 under Nagy, he looked completely different. He sucked because Nagy was trying to make him somebody he wasn't. And he shouldn't. What Nagy should have done, which a good coach does, is you build around the strengths of the quarterback. You don't make the quarterback build around your strengths. It'll never happen. It's never happened in the NFL, and it won't happen. And it proved it again. So this is more on Nagy. So I do hope that Mitchell does well there. And oddly enough, we're playing the Buffalo Bills this Saturday in Soldier Field. So he'll be playing, so I'm sure there's going to be some boos. But leave him alone, you guys. You know what? It's just because they do, and people got on his case, and it never changed, it never stopped, and that was it. He was done with in this town. And I don't want that to happen to Justin. So everybody just take a deep breath, enjoy the moment for now, but be realistic. It's a long season. We want him to be our franchise quarterback, but we do not want to force him into this. We don't want him to force him to make dumb decisions. We don't want him to get hurt. None of that, right? So that's pretty much that for the game. I don't know how long this show is already. It's probably, 21 minutes. Okay. So I did another, real quick, I'll do my segment on what I did over the summer. Now, I'm 63. My sister is 4? Yeah, 54, 55, something like that. And her daughter, she has a son. He's already married. He was the one that had the baby. I talked about that last week. And her daughter, her last child, her daughter, is getting married in 2 weeks from yesterday in Louisville, Kentucky. So we're all going to be there. And so she had her bachelorette party in Scottsdale, Arizona 3 weeks ago. Yeah, 3 weeks ago. And she invited her mom and me. Yeah, I know. So there were 6 of them, 5 girls, 1 guy, Taylor, a.k.a. Titty, they call him, and 5 other girls, and then me and my sister. So there was 8 of us, and we rented a B&B house, and oh my God, we got there Thursday, and we did not stop partying until late Saturday night. And there was drinking and clubbing and swimming in the pool, and it was crazy. But we had a blast. But these kids, I tell you what, although I got to tell you what, me and my sister kept up with them pretty darn good. I can't go into everything that happened because, certain things have to stay in the house. What happens in Scottsdale stays in Scottsdale. But we did have a stripper one day, and nowadays it's not a stripper. From our era, they came in, they did a dance, they took off their clothes slowly, and then they left. Oh no, it's like a show. It's a routine and show, and oh my God, I think he was there for almost an hour. And again, I can't go into details because this has to stay in house, but holy moly, I needed a cigarette when it was done. You know what I mean? And then at one point he came over to me, and I'm like, okay, honey, you got to slow down. You got to pump your brakes a little bit. He hopped in the pool and he started going after people because we were all in the pool. I was sitting on the Baja shelf in the water, and he came over to me. And I said to him, he spread my legs and he was coming in for, to do a dance. And I said, hey, sir, I don't have a Brazilian wax down there like all these girls do. There's a forest down there, so I don't think it's your cup of tea. And he says to me, I'm from Europe. I love hair. Oh, my God. I was peeing my pants. Yep, you heard it. But, yeah, as soon as he left, I hadn't started drinking yet. They had all started drinking at 10:30 in the morning. He got there at 1. I was like, no, I had to hydrate from the night before. And I knew we were going to have a long day. And as soon as that guy left, I had to have a cigarette and a drink because it was like, whew. I was a little my face was a little red. And what else did we do? We did a one of those bike ride things where a guy he's driving, but it's done by battery. So you got to pedal, right? And you can drink on it. And you do sightseeing. It's for 2 hours. I did not find it entertaining at all. I did not like it. I almost had a heart attack doing it. And, I was saying to my sister and some of the people at the party, I wouldn't have been that bad had we not been, drinking all day, doing a little and, smoking cigarettes and eating. We didn't do this till 6 o'clock at night, and we've been drinking all day. I was sweating profusely. I was like, I'm like, this is not fun, so I'm like, yeah, I'm never doing that thing again. And then the last night, we all had to wear wigs. We all had to have a certain color. Somebody took my color, red, so I was stuck with black, and we had to wear wigs and dress in the same color as your wig. So I had a black shirt on, black shorts, black shoes, and my black wig. And my black wig was like, it was a rockin'. It was a twist. It was like this high up in the air, and I should have brought it, but I'll show you next show. But it was a cross between a Cher and a Kiss wig. It was great. The other girls and the one guy, Taylor, they wore just regular long wigs. Taylor's was short, but and then their outfits. So they just looked like they were just cutie pies. I got all the attention out in the bar. People were like, yeah, right on. You're rocking it, lady. And I'm like, I know. 63, man. So that was fun, too. It was a good time. And it was really quite an honor to be invited by my niece. That says a lot. Not too many kids invite their parents to their bachelorette party. So that was another what I did over my summer. What did you do? So that's it. We'll see what happens this week. I may come on Friday to do a little show about what's going to happen, see what happens this week with the Bears and camp and all that stuff. But the game is at noon in Soldier Field next Saturday, Buffalo Bills. And then the last game is on the 28th. They'll be in Tennessee playing the Titans. So I will do a show before that, but I do not believe I'll be doing a show after that game. I know you guys are all bummed, aren't you? Because you won't be seeing this face. Because I won't be seeing the game. I'll be on an airplane when they're playing. So I will miss that Saturday game. But the 12th of September, I will be in front of that TV. And we will keep doing shows. So, again, I appreciate you guys returning, all of you. You're just fantastic. I love the comments. Keep them coming. I didn't really hear about what people thought about Soldier Field. There was only 1 or 2 people that mentioned it. They seemed like they were pretty cool with it. Bears moving to Arlington Heights, but we'll see. That's way down the road. We gotta take care of this season, right? Because we want to go to the playoffs. Yeah, baby, playoffs. Oh, and my shirt. I do have a Bears shirt on today. Let's show you this. Here's my Bears shirt. Let's get this out of the way. It says, unbreakable. You bet, baby. That's me. I'm unbreakable. And I love you guys. keep coming back. Tell other people about this show because we do have a lot of fun here. And it's just going to get better and better. It's not a lot to talk about in the preseason, so I'm sorry. But I love you guys. Keep coming back. And remember, be kind to somebody. Be kind to people. You don't know kind of what's going on in their lives. Help them out if they need some help. And give somebody a smile. You just never know. It could really make their day. There's nothing like a good, smile or reinforcement from people. Just let's stick together, right? Yeah. Except for Packer fans. We don't want them. All right. You guys rock. And I'll see you on the next show. Maybe Friday, if not for sure next Monday. Like I said, there's not a lot to talk about. So during the regular season, if you're new to the show, I do two shows, Monday and Fridays usually, and because there's a lot to talk about. But in preseason, not so much. So I tell my stories, and then you got to keep looking at this face. So, and again, my dad's face on a woman's body, it just isn't fair. So, as always, keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby. And I'll see you next time. Oh, bye-bye.